Hi, Natasha.
Hey, Paul.
This is Paul Palmer and
Natasha Todorovic-Cowan, here to entertain you.
yes. And today we're going to continue from the last session a little bit that we were talking about people that are not necessarily what they appear to be.
Well, you left folks with a cliffhanger, Paul.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're continuing with it. So we were talking about the people that profess to be experts in something, and then you go and see them, and they're an absolute nightmare. I'll give you a nice example. So one of the roles that I do as a QP is QP declarations. And in order to do a QP declaration, you have to go and visit the site, complete an audit, and confirm that they meet the requirements of EU good manufacturing practice, which I don't know what it's going to be now. With Brexit, it's all up in the air, I suppose. But it's probably going to be somewhat similar. And you send them out a questionnaire, and they fill it all in and send it back. And they say, "Oh, would you like to do a desktop audit remotely?" And you think, well, for a QP declaration, we're not really allowed to, or we're not supposed to, because they judge it by how much time you spent on site. So you think, no, I'd rather come and do an on-site visit, which with COVID at the moment is rather challenging anyway. And we went out to this one example. And you get there and you know that they're using equipment for mixing. And you see something stored outside, some sort of metal objects, which just happens to be the mixing vessel and the mixing paddles, and they're sat in the mud outside.
What?
I know. And
okay, so that seems kind of scary to me. That's bad, right?
Yeah, bad. That's bad. That's really bad. I'll give you another example. So another company trying to supply into Europe. I'm not going to say which source countries because it's too derogatory to those countries, because you do get some really good suppliers from them as well. And they've got all the documentation. They've got their supposedly a license, which later turned out to be falsified anyway. What they'd done, they'd falsified the location. So they took people to see another site, and then when you go and see where they're actually manufacturing, and they just take you in a truck to see it, didn't have any walls.
Oh, no.
So
that's a horror story.
We've not got any walls because otherwise it gets too hot, so we have to leave it open so the wind can blow through. And it's only tablets, they're all right, and they're inside the machine, aren't they? And you think, well, they are, but I just saw you pouring them in with a scoop from the barrel. And they're selling that. They're supplying the local market with those products.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's horrifying.
It's terrible. It makes you think, well, if I go to that local market, I'm not going in the hospital. And I'm certainly not buying from the local pharmacy.
So does that have to do with the fact that they are willfully taking shortcuts, or they fundamentally don't understand the basics of the manufacturing process, or a little of both?
The first one was a case of they fundamentally didn't see a problem with it.
Wow.
They just didn't see a problem with having the metal bits outside, because they were going to rinse them before they used them anyway. Rinse them in some of the water from whatever.
Rainwater.
Actually, I think it was the borehole. The natural water from a borehole, which wasn't tested. But then the other one without the walls, that was their standard.
Wow.
For that country. And they on the basis that that's how they lived anyway, well, that's how they treated the medicines.
Yes.
Because it was so hot they had a roof. Okay, maybe they had walls about, I don't know, 30, 40 centimeters high at the bottom. And
Oh,
then had some sort of
but
things
keep
that,
out lizards.
sorry, stop the lizards,
Keep
yeah.
out the lizards and the snakes.
But it was just like the flies come in and they go, and they just carry on. And they've got the white coats and the hat on, which makes you laugh when you see a whacking great cockroach fly across the middle of the room.
Well, I mean, that's part of the fake it till you make it almost, right? And that's also a part of just not knowing. And that's not the kind of thing that is undone by training.
No,
So
there's a lot more to it
really,
than just training. It's actually I think it's more cultural, and not just the local cultural in the business, but the society's culture in general,
yep, yes,
where they are in the first place.
yeah,
And it's like you said, the fake it till they make it. I see a lot of I'm not so sure I would call them experts, but they're professing to be experts, telling you to fake it till you make it. One in particular keeps chasing me to sign up for their courses, but I tried one, and the first one they sold me at a massive discount, of course, to try and convince me to buy their top of the range product was so bad. It was so badly produced. The content was so poor. I thought, there's no way I'm ever going to spend an appropriate amount of money to buy your next level course up, because you just sold me a load of trash.
yeah. And I, I sometimes wonder, and we talked about this in the last episode about people, professing to be spiral dynamics trained and not being spiral dynamics trained. I sometimes wonder if they really don't know, and if so, they have no business doing that, or are they really trying to shortcut the process? Or are they really just trying to be opportunistic about it? So I'm always curious about where it's coming from and why folks do it. And I've seen right across the board, different motivations for it.
Yeah, I think where it's just the norm in their location, they feel like they're doing the right thing.
Hmm.
Um,
Or they don't care enough to invest in figuring out what is the right standard to live up to and to accomplish.
oh, that's a good point, actually, because as a QP, as a qualified person, one of the things that comes across a lot in the training that you do, because you have to do 2 years intensive training before you can even go for the Viva exam. But one of the things that comes across a lot is, if you imagine that that drug is going to be taken by one of your family, then what's the decision you're going to make on that problem that you're looking at? And if you look at it with that perspective, then you're thinking of the patient first. And interestingly, I've often seen people taking the product that I release, like family, because it's just the normal off-the-shelf products that we supply. Um, um, okay, there's others that aren't off the shelf, but a lot of the off-the-shelf products you sell in millions at a time, so there is a chance that your family could be taking them next. So I don't fake it.
I really hate that phrase. I really do hate it because we are in such a high pressure world right now for folks to be authorities that they're pretending to be authorities when they're not.
Yeah. Yes. Well, shall we end on that downbeat then, Natasha, for today?
Oh, well, the point being, how does a person do their due diligence?
Well, yeah. How do they do the due diligence? Go and see them. Don't listen. Don't just read the bit of paper that says they're perfect. Go and have a look.
Do your homework.
Yep, that's the most important thing. Do your review, do your audit, go and see what they're doing. So that's Paul Palmer, and
And Natasha Todorovic Cowan, pleasure to be with you.
we'll see you again soon.